been adjourned at 5:32. Oh, hearing. Meeting at 5:32. My development review board's kicking in is what we're at.
Jim guest.
Okay, so we're gonna start with, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Now we're gonna do the consent agenda. Let's do the previous minutes. Any conversation, questions, comments? Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, minutes. Policy first reading. Oh, I thought this was second reading.
It had to be because it was first reading last.
Yeah,
Didn't you change something?
We changed,
we did, so that doesn't make
It
it.
may have bumped it to first reading.
we changed
Oh,
the
okay.
language of.
We did. So pets, student conduct and discipline, restricted behavioral intervention, and student medication. Any feedback, comments on those? And if there are none, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Policy second reading, grants, conflict of interest of employees, financial management, and general financial accountability, and transportation of students. Any feedback or comments on those? If there are none, I'd entertain a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, agenda review and prioritization. Is there anything that needs to move, Morgan? To kind of keep the.
As far as I know.
Okay. So next, we're going to do recognition of visitors. Welcome. If you want to take the time to come up and introduce yourselves. Do you have any comments? Anybody want to be recognized? No?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm Jan Bedard. I'm the regional coordinator for EF High School Exchange here. And I've had the privilege of working with Beth over a number of years, and we've had students here in Richford for at least the last 30 years that I know of. And I would have to say that Richford is probably one of our most supportive schools all around. And this year we have a bumper crop of students here, and we're kind of curious to know what will happen for the next year. So we want to say thank you so much for welcoming all of our students and for the generosity of your school community and your community at large. And our kids always have a great time. They're a little shocked when they find out that there's a place smaller than Burlington, but the kids always are welcomed here and made to feel like they're a part. And so, we thank you for that. I also work with some of the bigger high schools in the state, and that is not always the case. When you've got 1,300 kids, they don't stand out a whole lot. So it's a very unique experience here, and we thank you for that. And we're certainly here to answer any questions or do whatever we can to make you comfortable welcoming more students. So,
Yeah, great, thank you.
okay.
I can go. Michelle Ramo, I am actually on the ballot for school director this year. Also, I am a local coordinator for CIEE, which is another exchange program that has just come into the school system this year. We also are very thankful for welcoming us. I'm wondering also what next year is going to bring on that behalf of the number of students that are going to be allotted. Thank you.
I'm Kelly Legassi, and I'm simply here to say thank you. Our kids are having a wonderful time, my own children. We have one full-time student, and we've taken in 2 others temporarily this year, and it's just made a world of difference in my family. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for giving us an experience.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm Nikki Jacobs, and I became a coordinator with EF last January, and since then we've had a very large turnout of students that have come to our school here and in Enosburg, and we've really enjoyed the experience and are hoping that we can continue to bring a really good, fun, diverse experience to our schools and our communities. We've had lots of community members that don't host also jump in on the wagon and help with things, such as transporting to sports or inviting the kids to their family functions and whatnot, and have really, really reached out and said, thank you so much for, doing this. This has been awesome. And so we just wanted to say thank you guys as well, and see if there's any questions that you have that we could answer to. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We definitely see the value in the placements for sure. Currently, we're working on the policy, so as of March, we should have more answers about what it looks like in the future. We were, trying to hash out the kind of equity between two high schools and all of that, but we are working on it for sure. And so March is when we should kind of nail that down. But thank you so much for coming.
If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so next on our agenda is, school spotlight, my favorite.
So, this is Jeff Shankovitz, Mr. S. He is our new PE teacher who we share with a little bit with the high school. He's here for one class, and he's pretty much full-time at the elementary school. And I was thinking about what is it that we really wanted to present tonight, and I kind of put that out to staff. One of the things that people really talked about was opportunities that kids are having for some outdoor activities and some physical activities. And everybody has just really raved about what's happening in our PE program this year. There's a level of energy, excitement. Jeff has we were just talking about like this focus on skills is hugely important, of course, but we really have a big focus on social emotional skills, and it's pretty neat to be able to see a PE teacher be able to really bring that into the classroom, and it's not something you might typically expect, and Jeff really does it very, very naturally. Like it doesn't look like a huge effort to try to really talk to kids about not just good sportsmanship and skills, but just really how to regulate yourself and how to be an athlete and how to play nice and and all of those things, problem solve. So Jeff has put together this very, very long snowboarding unit, and unfortunately Mother Nature was cooperative this year and just barely has come to an end, and I think they could have gone until spring and been perfectly happy. So I'm going to let Jeff talk about that in detail. One of the things that I think has been really exciting about it is that it's giving our littlest kids and our oldest kids at the elementary school an opportunity to experience an outdoor sport, and that could lead to a lifelong hobby. It's an incredibly expensive sport if you're going to just get into it. At least our older kids have the opportunity to go to J, but still, like, some of them are, by the time they're in 4th and 5th grade, like, they're a little wary, a little scared. And so this is an opportunity for the younger kids to just really dive into it and learn the skills at school and get sort of a taste of it and see if it's something that they really want to experience. So that's the bulk of this. Jeff has put this together. I tacked on to the back end of it a couple of other pieces. So I'll talk about that when we get there. But I'm going to let Jeff take it away.
Thank you for such a nice intro, Kelly. That really was. And thank you guys for having me here tonight. I really am excited to come. I was telling a lot of people, and they were like really excited for me too. So I want to share something that I'm really passionate about, which is teaching kids and giving them experiences that they might not otherwise have. And the funny thing about this, or the ironic thing, I guess, is I have never been snowboarding. So I'm not a rider, and this is the third year that I've taught this unit, and I did it at my previous school too. And this is actually the first year I strapped on a board and actually went down with some of the kids too. So I think that was a really nice part of it too, seeing me as not just this really awesome super snowboarder, but one of them also. So my rationale behind the unit was that, like Kelly was saying, this is a lifetime activity in which students can potentially benefit from exposure at an early age. Our kids get to go when they're in 4th and 5th grade, but as you'll see on here, I had preschoolers on snowboards, so they were really exposed to it at an extremely early age. Like any form of exercise, you guys probably know, it releases endorphins, the neurochemicals responsible for feelings of happiness and well-being, which we all want to have. And then exercising outdoors is even better because it's going to just alleviate or elevate your mood, reduce anxiety. So some of the skills that we were working on, balance was definitely one. You need to balance when you're on a snowboard. But a lot of other stuff, and these were kind of like soft skills in a way, such as adaptability, attitude, teamwork. You'll see in the photos it was a lot. They had to really work together with a lot of this stuff. Communication, time management. We had a really small amount of time, 30-minute classes. Takes 5 minutes just to get out to the hill, 5 minutes back, so you can imagine the logistics, getting helmets on and all that stuff. As well as flexibility, problem solving, perseverance was probably the biggest one, critical thinking, conflict resolution, integrity, open-mindedness. As you can see, there's a lot of them. These are things I was just jotting down as I was going through the unit of things we were working on. So in order to get this stuff, I'm friends with a guy that works at the Richmond Elementary School named Brian Godfrey, and Burton actually puts on this program called the Riglet program, and it's an in-school like snowboarding program, and they've given him a ton of equipment to loan out to other schools. Caveat is you have to go pick it up. So I did make multiple trips to Richmond Elementary School getting the snowboards, the indoor gear, and then needed to come up with helmets because I found out we don't have any helmets at school. So nice schools in our district, Enosburg and Sheldon, lent us plenty of helmets, so all students were able to have helmets that needed them. So it was really great the way that we were also able to talk about sharing equipment and the idea of treating it like your toy or something that you want to make sure that other people are going to be able to use and that you're valuing it. So this is kind of the start. We started indoors, and these pictures are actually from the music room because when we were doing our winter concert, we did PE in the music room, but the great thing about this stuff is that it really did translate. You'll see on the left-hand side, it's a grab mat game, so they're able to learn some of the names of the popular grabs that these athletes will do in the X Games and the Olympics and stuff. And advance their vocabulary. And then over on the right-hand side, we've got kids on balance boards. There's those spooner boards. The red one is, as well as stilts. So anything that's going to really work on their balance and just kind of getting them comfortable with being uncomfortable with your balance, kind of. Working together was a huge thing, as on the left you see some of the students doing some really cool spooner board things, holding hands. On the right, this was something that we would do at a station, and it was pulling on the board. So that's a snowboard that we can use outside too, but it has a felt bottom to it that I can cover it with, and two students pull one of the students on the board. So it's a three-person type of deal. Not only do the people pulling have to work together, but they have to communicate with the person on the board as well. So that was a really great experience in terms of just the working together part. Once we got back in the gym, I was able to set up 4 stations. The one in the middle, you can see the kids trying on the snowboards. And that was an interesting experience because not being a snowboarder, I did not realize that that was not a good idea because the wax came off the bottom of them. They were moving too much on the floor, and next thing you know, when we tried to go down the hill, they would not move. So there I was at First Tracks in Montgomery buying some wax and learning how to shave down the boards and everything and iron it. It was great. It was a nice learning experience. I shared it all with the kids too. So those were kind of the stations in the gym. And what ended up kind of happening was that it was a challenge by choice, which is what I feel most things should be in my classroom. And some of the kids didn't want to do the snowboarding. So I opened up the option of doing some sledding. And we really talked about all of the things, the physical activity that go into sledding, up and down a hill, and the balance or the teamwork or a lot of the other skills that went into it. And they had a great job. Some of them, or a great time. Some of them just like to do that during our class. The vast majority did snowboard, but we did do a good amount of sledding as well. Here are some of the pictures of the kids on the sledding hill. And actually that helped that during the time when the boards didn't have the wax on the bottom. The next class was able to happen because we had sled. So that's the hill that's right in front of our school. You can see actually Shelley's daycare right across the way there. So the kids were in kindergarten for second, they were able to pull each other on the snow before we went down the hill. That gave them the sensation of being on the snow versus the floor with the felt. Once again, working, most of them needed two people to pull. Every once in a while somebody was able to pull by themselves. But that was for the younger kids that did that part. And here are a couple other cool pictures of them being able to do that. And as you can see, it is quite a long walk from the school to our hill, so that was some great physical activity as well. We did finally get snowboarding. All students that were standing on a board always needed to wear a helmet. We had some, you'll see later, we had some of these throwback boards that were made out of wood. They could sit on those without a helmet and kind of use them as like a toboggan type thing. But anybody that was standing needed a helmet, which also created a great conversation about why we need helmets and what we're trying to protect. And some of the resistance from the kids was not, I think once they saw somebody fall, they realized why we were wearing the helmet. Yeah. Here are some of our kids going down, getting the boards on. Told Brandon, he's the one on the left there, he wanted me to put that picture in because that's when he took an epic fall that I caught on camera. He wants a copy of that. More kids going down here, and they were really good about trying to, it's hard, maybe it's hard on the perspective, but to space themselves out. Again, it's challenging sometimes for kindergartners to realize that we can't all just go down the same area, but it was really good learning for them. And I think it helped that we did it over the course of a couple months, so it wasn't like it was just, okay, let's do this inside and then we're going to get out for a week, go twice, and then unit's over type thing. There was a lot of advancement of skills. So these are those throwback boards that I was referring to, and they're kind of neat. This was like the original snowboard that Jake Burton created, and it's made out of wood, and it's got these handles on it, and there's no bindings, so that took away a lot of the threat of being strapped to something, which is always my kind of fear of snowboarding, I guess, the claustrophobia or the feeling of just kind of being stuck to something. If you lost your balance, you could kind of hop off. And this was a really great way for some of those students that maybe didn't want to do the snowboard, but saw kids having fun and were sledding to kind of breach it in the middle. And then they were also able to ride these on their bottoms as well. Here's a couple more of the kids going down. And the neat thing is they can pull up on that. They can use that rope to kind of pull up to control the front of their board more. I felt like you actually had a lot more control over these boards personally. And then it was so fun getting out there with the preschoolers too. I do 2 classes each week with each of the preschoolers, so I have 4 total classes. And they really stepped it up and listened to every one of my directions, and were just amazed that they were able to stand on a board and do stuff that they saw such older kids doing. The thought that they were going to next year be able to go down the hill was something that's really intrigued them. And they, towards the end, I think I might have a picture. Oh yeah, the kid up on the right and even on the left. They started to be able to pull each other. At first I was a little hesitant with that, but our preschoolers are amazing. They just really are. Once you disseminate some information, they seem to really just absorb it like sponges. And this was in the back of our school, so we have like a nice area where there's no cars. It's very flat. There was different types of snow, so we were able to use that with the preschoolers there. I tried to get some audio. I wasn't able to really be successful, so I just wrote down some of the things there. And I don't really need to read them off, but I think the overall sense was just that sense of accomplishment, especially towards the end, the last few weeks, when these kids who I watched many times fall repeatedly as you went down. And those were some of my videos where not so much them falling, like, oh, this is funny, but the fact that they would get right back up and keep trying to go down. And sometimes it took 3 or 4 times, but it wasn't like, oh, slam the board down, you know, leave it there, walk up the hill all huffing and puffing. They just were very persistent and they kept trying. And I think that hopefully a little experience like this, even if it's not snowboarding for life, will just open them up to trying some things that they might not have thought they could do, or to just be more open-minded to something that might be scary, so to speak, or just to, you know, try something outside the box. So, and the bottom one, I was so impressed with how many kids thanked me. Like, it's not something that I asked them for, you know, but when you hear kids really thanking me for this stuff, like, that's why we do it. You know, that's why I do it, at least, you know what I mean? So it was just so worth it, and I'm really happy to be able to share this with you. And
Now they've moved on to the climbing wall.
yeah, now we're on the person wall.
Yeah, he has, it's just taken on a new flavor this year. So these other couple pieces are relatively short. One of the things that, this is totally changing gears, but one of the things that we've been working on this year is trying to create, or not create, but really build up our internal systems of supports for students. We have a number of students this year, younger students who are on the spectrum, who are autistic. And so we've had the good fortune of having Crystal Godbout be with us a lot to be able to really do some programming for kids. And one of the things that we've been working on this year is a program specifically for our children with some pretty serious developmental delays. And we've created a space within the building right now, at least for this year. Think about where that's going to be next year, but space within the building this year, and a program around it for really providing the services that we need for these children. So, you know, we can have some children, we can teach them to be in the classroom and to sit in a circle, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily getting what they need to have at that point. So being much like with special ed services or speech services, so an opportunity to bring some of those children out of the classroom to have some very targeted instruction. There's a special educator attached to this. There's some behavior technicians attached to this. There's the guidance of Crystal that is attached to this. And being able to really do some very targeted instruction with those children, and then be able to have them come back to the classroom to be able to really practice those skills. And when they're in this other space, they're able to also, we're able to collect a great deal of data, do some real, you know, lots and lots of tries with them on the skills, and then bring them back into the classroom where they can then really practice those skills. So it's something we're pretty happy about, because at the beginning of the year we're like how are we really meeting the needs, the varied needs of all of our kids? And so this feels like we're able to meet a need of a population of children that has grown quite a bit this year, at least at Richford. So the other piece that is incredibly important to this is the behavior technicians. So we have 5 people that are currently going through a program to be certified as a behavior technician, and we already have 2 other people. And so these are the people that are working with some of our children that have some of the biggest needs, and so really being able to develop their skills to be able to do the work with these children and help them grow their skills. So we're pretty happy about that. The third piece, which I may not be able to show you, that we're really working on is really building a sense of community. So now that there's a new principal in the building, new staff, like and I'm full-time, like really looking at how are we building our sense of community within the school. And so what you would have seen here is some of what we've really been looking at. So one of the pieces we've done in the classroom, every morning we do morning meeting. We really have a focus on responsive classroom, which was really looking at both the academic and the social emotional skills of children. And just like I was talking about with Jeff and PE, like how you just target those social emotional skills throughout the day in all areas. We do once a month a school-wide morning meeting, and I talked with staff about that at the beginning of the year and really talked about how are we really targeting that to not just be like a fun activity that everybody comes together, but how are we really building community through that experience. So I had some pictures here, and I had a great video of kids dancing last week, and adults, but it's not gonna load. So anyway, those are some of the things.
Great, thank you. That was great. Okay, next we have Morgan.
So most of my stuff is informational, it was in your packet. I've not received Enosburg's final audit yet, but I expect that's gonna be coming this week. When it does, I'll send both of those out to you. I put budget development annual meeting prep on my agenda. Lynn had it on hers as well. She had a question about whether this board was interested in developing a video that we would push out on social media. And we decided not to. We're certainly pushing the dates of the meetings out, and we're hoping to be able to live stream the 2 informational meetings on the 19th and 20th. And then you guys have a meeting, an additional meeting in Enosburg on Monday.
Right. So Monday we have an information meeting.
Yes, 17th.
17th. That's right. That is right. And then the 20th, Thursday, is the informational meeting here in Richford with the vote.
That's the actual annual.
That is the annual meeting, not an informational, annual. And that is at the town clerk.
Here.
No,
Here.
it's
Here.
here.
It's here.
Okay.
We
it's
talked
here.
about that.
We did, whether it was at the, okay, it's
What,
here. And
what
it's at
time's the
7?
yeah.
7th, I believe.
7. So whether we're doing an so our option is whether we do like a little video, or can we just record Monday and meeting and that what you're asking?
No, exactly.
Oh,
We are gonna try to stream Thursday's meeting.
oh, Thursday's meeting.
And Dominic and Courtney are working on figuring out how to do that. Lynn thought that one of the boards had brought to her the idea of actually sitting down with some board members. Lynn probably isn't gonna be available, but I could do that as well. And basically putting together a video explaining whatever you guys want to explain, and then pushing that out on Facebook.
Okay.
The concern I would have is just the capacity of us being able to get it
Timing.
done and out there in a way that's useful. I'm also going to send out the mailing that has started going out today, so it'll be a duplicate for those of you who live in one of the towns that gets to vote on either of these budgets. We printed a lot of documents, so. There's certain weight requirements in order to send them bulk.
Oh, is that right? I'll take them off.
It looks very nice.
Okay.
So, yes, this is the question on whether you guys were the ones looking for a video, and if that's still something you're interested in, and then just generally, what other steps do you want us to take to promote the meeting?
We kind of talked about the video as being a concise opportunity to walk through this, because I was the one that was like, what are you talking about? And if I don't, I do understand the concept of time and who wants to actually do that. I think, I do think that if there's a way for it to happen, it could benefit us in being able to explain, like, I'm just putting myself out there as like a parent in the community. I wouldn't necessarily go on and stream the whole meeting, but if you could give me a 5-minute rundown of what, or less than that would be better, probably. A rundown of what this means and how I understand, particularly like the CLA. I think it would be beneficial.
Would it have to be, it would have to be a board? It would have to be a group of us to do the video?
It can be whatever you guys tell us it's gonna be. I think your voters prefer to hear from the board.
The board, okay, so I just don't want information.
But certainly we could
We can write it.
either help you on it, we can write a script, or we can help you on it.
I met with the Courier last week and went over this, so that the information would go out that way too. But I think, the video, it's not horrible, it just be about time and getting this all.
Well, I suppose if we are successful in recording both of those meetings, we could edit something down from that,
Okay.
from those two.
That would be reasonable, or if we could come in like a little early, that might be an option too.
We'll just look what we got, and if there's some questions that weren't asked.
Answered coming. What do you think? What do you thought? Okay. So I would say let's record the meeting and see. And knowing that, maybe we take time to explain this at the meeting.
And if it's streamed live, it's still available after the fact, right, on the website or on
I would
wherever.
guess.
So people can watch it, even though they don't have to watch it live.
I think so.
Yeah. And both sides of video as well.
I believe they're gonna be videoing them, I don't know that they're gonna,
They would be live.
not able to do it live, but I believe
Right, but they could be able to.
they're gonna be. So the flyers in front of you are going out by mail. Courtney put something out on Facebook today. We will put something out again right before the meetings. We can probably do a robocall to parents and staff from all the schools, reminding them of the meetings. Is there anything else you want us pushing out, either for information or for the vote?
I can put this on the town website, Facebook page.
And when we know how many extras we have, I think we're gonna try to get them out to the town clerk offices, just to sit on the shelves there.
Okay. Can't think of anything. Okay.
So that's it for me. I've got some personnel to bring up under Lynn's
Lynn's, okay.
section. We'll do that later.
Okay. So we'll go down through the principal report. Kelly, do you have anything other than what was in your report?
I do actually have one additional thing. I have a staff member, a paraeducator who has used up some time and is requesting some additional time. I do have people who have donated some time, both from the sick bank and from their own personal, current personal time. She has used up her time and will probably need some additional days.
Unpaid or going back into the bank for paid?
It would be using the donated time.
It would be,
It would be
okay.
to use the donated time.
Okay.
So that I already have the
Okay.
donated time, but it's a request from the board to, understand that she has exceeded her sick time and if she can be given additional time.
And I think this is being brought because we don't know how many donated days she will get. So if she's out for a specific length of time, some of those days may end up being unpaid if they're not donated to her.
it's up in the, like, I can't tell you a specific, she's not there this week, but I can't tell you if, how many days moving forward. It's gonna be days here and there. I'm not sure at this point.
Okay.
So I can't tell you a specific starting and. That's.
Okay.
Do we know when the ending date is?
We don't.
Okay.
She is not there this week, but we're not sure moving forward if it would be, if that will continue or if it will be days here and there.
Okay. So you just needed to notify us, but you don't need to take any action on that.
So I think we want a motion from you allowing her to take unpaid leave as needed, and I guess we could do it as needed through the end of the school year.
Probably, I think it would have to be.
Okay.
End of the school year.
Okay.
And then unpaid, that covers people donating her time.
Well,
The people donating time, you don't need permission from the board.
Right, but so if she takes it as,
So if she
Unpaid.
gets days donated, she'll get those as paid. It really just covers her if she doesn't get enough. And it's the employee's Shelley Stetson, and that should be in the motion.
okay. Are there any questions? Oh, okay. I was like, what do you got? Okay, so,
So I will make a motion to agree on Shelley Stenson's unpaid leave until the end of the school year, through the end of the school year.
or up
As
to,
needed.
as needed, up to the end.
right, and it would be as needed.
Having no more, any discussion? Having no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Anything else, Kelly?
That's it.
Okay, so let's go back. Do you have anything other than your report?
I have one action item on my report.
Okay.
Request for unpaid leave for the Todd. She wrote a letter. She said, I'll read it to you. I'm writing this letter to request a leave of absence for maternity purposes. My due date is March 23rd, and I am requesting a 6-week leave of absence from the time of discharge of the hospital. As a paraeducator, I do not qualify for the minimum hours worked to be eligible for FMLA maternity leave. I plan to return to work once my child meets the age requirement for daycare, which is 6 weeks old. This will allow me 6 weeks of mother and child bonding time as the time needed to recuperate and get everything situated to return to work. Thank you for your consideration for this request.
So I thought my ignorance, I thought support staff was linked.
I'm not
Last
sure.
act anyway?
Should I get
Okay.
it, just in case it's not? And this is a similar situation, she may get days donated, but
Okay.
she's not sure.
If they don't work enough hours or they took time off last year and didn't meet the requirement,
Yeah.
then they don't meet the requirement. But some support staff do meet eligibility for FMLA, but she doesn't.
Okay, gotcha. So, there's no conversation, entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay,
And I have one more thing.
okay.
We have a letter of resignation from Joe Marcio.
I just
Oh,
gave
yeah.
that, you did,
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
So that's just a
so,
copy. So
yeah, just,
Oh,
did they already accept it?
They have not, I just
Okay.
handed it to Polly tonight.
Same one,
This is
I
the
think,
same
I think
It
they
is the-
probably gave us
yeah.
each a copy.
He probably
Okay.
did, yeah.
So we'll just need, he retired last year and then came back, but he's really retiring this year.
that's what they all say. Yeah, exactly.
Unless Beth twists their arm.
Okay, I'll pass this around if you want to read it. So, entertain a motion to accept Joe, is it
Marcel.
Marcial's letter of resignation.
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
That's all.
Thank you, Michelle. Nothing, great. Then your report. And then Rachel.
I'll just add that if you check out our school's Facebook page today, we had a guest speaker she's a marine biologist and oceanographer, and she just took a 2-month-long, she did 2 expeditions to do research, one at the North Pole and one at the South Pole within 2 months of each other. So she came in and presented to all of the middle school students today about like the animals she researched and what it's like to live on a ice-breaking boat that's purpose is to smash through icebergs so you can get to the North Pole, which is very hard to get to, by the way. I learned that today. And the kids were like completely enthralled. Like everybody left, and like we have I think 95 up and coming marine biologists now. So, but she sent such a great message about how it's not just the scientists who are really important on those missions and that they go out on. They also need mechanics, engineers, robotic technicians. They need pilots. They need chefs. They need just all of these different roles. Like it wouldn't work without. She said they literally had a guy who like put together the IKEA furniture on the ship so that they could have bunk beds so that they could sleep. Cool. So she I think the kids also really like I don't have to be a scientist, but I could be a chef and work on a boat and still see the world. So it was a great message and really cool. So if you check out our school's Facebook page, you'll see some photos and a short video clip of the presentation.
So she went to the North and South Pole within 2 months of each other?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. What?
So what does that do to your body? Like the pole?
She said the hardest part was that when they were in the South Pole, they never saw night. The sun just kind of circled for 3 weeks, and she said apparently that does some crazy stuff to you when it's just always daytime. So
Okay.
Anyway, just a story.
Yeah. And Joseph.
No, I don't have anything new, but I do have a correction.
Okay.
So if you look under informational on exchange students, the last entry is Matteo Romani. She's from Italy, not Germany, since she's been with us since the start of the school year.
Okay. Thank you for that correction. Nate.
A couple late additions. Kylie Stewart, Callie Halawati came in first and second in our FFA dairy foods competition, and winter forestry team came in third. And the last thing is there is a very exciting Perkins 5 meeting next Wednesday at the BFA Library from 3:30 to 5, put on by Jay Ramsey of the AOE. And he is taking public comment on the new 4-year Perkins 5 plan. So everyone's invited. BFA Library, where's that?
It is in the old hospital. So not the BFA proper, but the other building. And it's upstairs. Yeah, up here.
Okay.
Upstairs. Apparently it was labor and delivery because there's a good portion of teachers who were actually born.
Oh, no kidding.
That's amazing.
They're like, I literally was born in a library. And I'm like, okay. So, yeah, you can really easy those there. I was born in a library.
You were part of the old hospital? No, they're talking about the one.
It might be.
No, Curtis is theater, which is NMC.
No, you should be smarter.
This is hilarious.
You're too young. You're too young to be born.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kevin, you would have been in that.
Although there's some teachers who are in their 40s that were born there. Okay.
I don't think so.
No. Okay, so Lynn's, wait, I'm forgetting anybody, I always do that. Now we're on to Lynn's.
Now we're on to Lynn.
Different hospital.
Kelly and Beth knocked out the three of the 4 personnel things.
Okay.
I am going to want to take you into executive session to discuss the Enosburg Elementary principal search process. and I'm gonna lead the board going through refining the questions that you will ask when you guys are ready to interview.
Okay.
I don't think any of the other administrators need to stay for that, but I don't know that they have to leave. We're just gonna do it in executive, first to let Amy talk to you about the process so far, and that should probably just be the board, and then obviously we don't wanna go over the questions on camera because then some of your candidates will have to wait.
Unfair plan.
I don't know if there doesn't appear to be anything in board business coming up that you would need.
So I'll get a motion to go into executive. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Would, so the principals do not have to stay, but if you would like to introduce the questions, you are welcome to stay.
Are there any of us who feel like you need? I'm happy to stay.
I feel like if you want to contribute to the questions that are being asked, I feel like, Michelle, I think you should definitely.
Maybe for part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe for part of it.
And
I mean,
then.
for the update,
How much
not,
do you
but
want
for part of the questions, some, but some I not.
I trust you guys.
Yeah.
Completely.
That was very
Blind.
Very good one.
What did she say?
Yes, exactly.
Answer, thank you.
I didn't say that was Nate.
Okay, fine. In that case, you're on. Thank you.